How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Gear Vault podcast. I'm your host, Wes Robinson, and today I've got a really fun one for you. I asked ChatGPT what are the 10 most overrated cartridges when it comes to hunting. And honestly, a couple of them I'm going to have to agree with AI. However, a couple of them are a little bit iffy. Not saying this for the algorithm or anything, but I do expect some pretty heated comments, both on Spotify as well as on YouTube. So as I go through these, definitely don't be afraid to let me know your thoughts, whether good or bad, on these cartridges. So again, I asked AI or ChatGPT in this case, what are the top 10 most overrated cartridges for hunting? And I wanted to specify for hunting because some that are just fine for target shooting aren't necessarily great for hunting. So we are going to jump right into it with number 10. Number 10 is the 450 Bushmaster. Why it's overrated. Just another straight wall darling that got way too much social media love, when in reality, it has heavy recoil, a rainbow-like trajectory, and short effective range. Performs worse than many alternatives past 150 yards. So this is one that I actually don't have a lot of experience with. I've not shot a 450 Bushmaster. I've handled weapons chambered in that. I've looked at the ammo whenever it first came out, or in its early days. I was kind of looking. I was like, man, that's a beefy looking cartridge, But I haven't actually shot one, so I'm not going to speak too much on the 450 Bushmaster. What I will say is that it seems like for a hunting type cartridge, it's not super well suited, I guess, for anything, in my opinion. I think there's better options if you're in a straight wall state. And just based on like different manufacturers' websites, anyone that chambers a 450 Bushmaster, typically they will have like an accuracy guarantee in like their rifles. But if they don't, like if they have like an asterisk beside any cartridge, as far as like, hey, all of these things will achieve sub MOA accuracy except this one, it's just about always the 450 Bushmaster. So take that as you will, but it seems like it might be a little bit more of a finicky cartridge as far as accuracy goes. Number 9, the 6mm Creedmoor. Why is it overrated? It's just another product of the Creedmoor craze. In reality, it's outstanding for targets and varmints, but limited energy on game animals. It's a niche performer, not a general purpose hunting round. Now, this one, again, not a lot of experience with 6 Creed. However, I would probably tend to disagree with AI on this one. I mean, sure, it's a product of the Creedmoor craze. It doesn't mean that you're going to get bad products within that. I mean, I think, honestly, 22 Creedmoor, even 25 Creedmoor, I think those are actually, in my opinion, better products of the Creedmoor craze than the actual Creedmoor. I don't think the 6.5 Creedmoor is really answering any questions that I had. But 22 Creedmoor is kind of cool, and 25 Creedmoor I think is super awesome. There's not really been anything late and great as far as quarter bores go, so I'm excited to have a 25 cal that's coming up that will hopefully kind of push some of these ammunition manufacturers and bullet manufacturers into building some better quality 25 caliber bullets. Some of those longer, sleeker bullets. Hopefully we'll have more options besides just an ELDX for hunting. But I do think that there's a lot of good potential within the 25 Creedmoor. 6 Creed, though, I mean, in reality, what is it? I mean, it's probably best compared to like a improved 243. And I mean, 243 has been a long time favorite for many, many years for, I'm going to say this, youth, women, smaller statured shooters, have used this with great success over the years. And a lot of people that just don't see the need to have recoil or 150, 60 grains of bullet I've used the 243 for years with no issues. Definitely a little light on elk and stuff that size, but honestly, for we'll say mule deer and down, like 243 is just fine. And the 6 millimeter Creedmoor is just 243 with more bullet options. So I don't think that I would necessarily call that overrated, because it's not really that hyped of a cartridge to begin with. Certainly not like its bigger brother. Number 8, the 350 Legend. So why is it overrated? It's designed for straight wall states, but it got marketed like it's revolutionary, when in reality, it's fine within 200 yards, but it's ballistically unimpressive. Better options exist even within straight wall rules. So I kind of agree with this and I kind of don't. So 350 Legend is one that I was actually kind of surprised whenever I shot the first one. It was a Ruger American Ranch, the 16-inch version, and accuracy was awesome. I mean, I was stacking bullets with that thing out to 200 yards just as fast as I could cycle the bolt, smacking 6-inch steel. I was actually super impressed with it. I was impressed with how little recoil that round had. So I think I'd say if you got a kid going out for the first time and you're worried about recoil and you're shooting 100 yards and then, that's a super good option. It's potentially a better option than like 30-30 or something. I don't know that it would be better than 243 or something along those lines, because it kind of gets into that like big and slow versus small and fast debate, which is a whole podcast in itself. But in general, I would say 350 Legend is completely fine. However, I would agree that there are better options that exist within the straight wall rules. I think that honestly, 360 Buckhammer, if you're in Iowa, I don't know if other states are like this, so let me know in the comment section, but I know Iowa has like that 35 caliber rule, so it doesn't have to be straight wall if it's 35 caliber or larger. If you're in Iowa, I would be building a 35 Wayland, 100%, no questions asked. Run 180s out of a Wayland, and you got some pretty darn impressive trajectory out to 400 or 500 yards. So that's what I would do. I would say the heck with everything else and run a 35 Wayland. Or if you want to get real fancy, get you a Browning BLR and 358 with like a 2.5 power scope. I say that because I had one and I sold it, and I wish I still had it. But let's move on. Number 7. So, similar to number 9, number 7 is the 243 Winchester. Why it's overrated. So I didn't read through these like at all before I started talking. Probably a mistake, but why it's overrated. Known as the perfect youth deer rifle, but it's borderline too light for bigger game. I mean, I basically just said that. In reality, amazing accuracy, low recoil, but marginal for anything above whitetail without precision shots. Honestly, I would say I agree with that. In today's age, there's so many options that kind of fall into that like low recoil, deer rifle. I don't think that there's necessarily a need for 243. I think that, you look at like the, shooting 110s and larger bullets out of some of these 6 millimeter rounds. I think that 243 is kind of a dying cartridge for the niche that it has filled over the years. And it is. It's I think there's a lot of people these days that's looking for a kind of a general purpose, do everything rifle, and it's probably a little bit on the light side for that. Still a great round. I mean, I've killed a few deer with 243 back in the day. Killed my first one with it. I've also had some not so great experiences with it. And as I look back after I've gotten older, I'm thinking, okay, was that the cartridge or the bullet, or was it just me? Was it a bad shot? So hard to know for sure, thinking back that far. But 243, is it overrated? Maybe a little bit, but it's also kind of dying. So number 6, we have the 6.5 PRC. Why is the 6.5 PRC overrated? Marketed as the Creedmoor perfected, but many shooters can't handle or justify the extra recoil, cost, and barrel wear for a few 100 feet per second gain. The reality, great for open country hunters, not so much for the average deer stand. Man, I'll probably disagree with this one. Not that I'm a PRC fanboy or anything like that, but I don't think that the recoil from the 6.5 PRC is none too excessive. 7 PRC is definitely getting up there to where it can get uncomfortable, but I didn't think that the 6.5 PRC was too bad to shoot for very long at all. I also think that for your average deer hunter, this is not the person that's going out to the range and using this rifle for PRS matches or anything like that. Just your average run-of-the-mill deer hunter in the U.S., I don't think they're really worried about barrel life. I would actually say that most of the people that I know that I grew up with and just all the people I know, if I took a sample of all of the hunters, that I've ever met in my life, vast majority of them are the kind of people that maybe shoot a box of ammo a year. Honestly, they're the people that buy a gun and they sight it in, and each year they'll go out, shoot 3 shots. Does it still shoot where it's supposed to? Yes. Okay, let's go hunting, shoot a deer with it, put it back in the safe. I think that there's a lot of people in the country that's like that, and I think that the barrel life argument is not really that great of an argument for your average person. Not to say that it's not a valid point, but for most people, I don't think that it is. Great for open country, not so much for the average deer stand. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me because I feel like if it's great for the open country, it could be just fine for the average deer stand. I'm not sure what's happening in the deer stand that makes a prairie gun not work for it. That doesn't make sense to me. So 6.5 PRC I think is a great round. Again, that's in my opinion, it's like mule deer and under. Ideally, clearly you can shoot whatever you want with it, but in an ideal scenario, mule deer, whitetail, pronghorn, I think it's one of the best options out there. Number 5. Now, see, I don't like this one. And again, I asked ChatGPT this question 15, 20 minutes ago, right before I started. I didn't read through everything. I didn't notice that number 5 was the 30-06 Springfield. Why it's overrated. Iconic and reliable, but often glorified beyond reason. The reality, it's good at everything, great at nothing. Modern powders and bullets make newer mid-bores more efficient. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I could make the argument that modern powders and bullets make the 30-06 what the 300 Win Mag used to be. And that's kind of the side of the fence that I'm on with 30-06. Matter of fact, if you said, gun to my head, what's the most versatile, best hunting cartridge out there? I would say 5 times out of 7, it's going to be the 30-06. It's just so darn good. I think that in my experience, 30 caliber bullets just kill better than 7mm bullets, or 26 or whatever. There's like a noticeable difference in the reaction of the animal when they're hit with, a 30 versus a 7. And that could just be in my head, but that's what it seems like to me. So I really do like 308 and 30-06. I like those two a lot. And I think that most people, most hunters, deer hunters, that is, if they were honest with themselves and really looked at where, as far as distance, you're going to be shooting the vast majority of the animals that you're hunting, honestly, 308, 30-06 is going to cover your bases darn near every time. 30 cal, you can go down to 110 grain or up to 220s probably if you hand load. Factory ammunition, you can go, I think, 130 to 220. So, I mean, you got a wide range of stuff that you can do with the 30-06, whether you're wanting just heavy hitting big bullets or, super speed for varmints. I mean, you got options with the 30-06. So, part of why it said it was overrated was it's iconic and reliable. That doesn't sound like it makes it overrated in my opinion. It says it's good at everything and great at nothing. I would say it's great at most things. So in this situation, I'm definitely going to argue against AI. I think that they got that one wrong. And again, guys, in the comment section, let me know your thoughts. I mean, at this point, somebody out there is saying, how could the 30-06 be on the most overrated list? And I would agree with you. Number 4, this one will ruffle some feathers as well. 7mm Remington Magnum. The do everything Magnum that everyone claims is perfect, yet its recoil and ammo cost outweigh its real world benefits over simpler options. The reality, excellent cartridge, but not worth a punishment for average range deer hunts. So I've shot 7 mags, not many, and not that recently. I don't remember the recoil being all that bad on them. I really don't. But what I will say is that in the world of especially 7mm stuff, but like just hunting in general these days, it would seem that most everyone is chasing like BC and long range feet per second, long range energy. And in that case, like the 7 mag really, it doesn't check those boxes because it's not designed for heavier bullets. Now, if you there can certainly get a custom made 7 Rem Mag with a faster twist and shoot whatever you want, right? But as far as just turnkey off the shelf options, you're going to get them twisted more for like 150s, and honestly, it's fine. It's honestly, it's one of those things that comes back to like, if you're realistic with what you're going to be doing, it's probably going to be absolutely fine. Now, is it overrated? I don't know. I mean, the people that love 7 mag, they freaking love 7 mag. You know, they talk about it as much as the people that love the number 3 on this list. But in my opinion, I think that there's better 7 options out there currently. And I think that as the years go on, you're going to have less and less ammunition options in some of these cartridges that we're talking about. So you're going to have, 7PRC is going to have more ammunition options. Like a company is going to make a new line of, they come out with like their newest bullet, latest and greatest. They're probably going to chamber it in 7PRC, maybe not 7 Rem Mag. So keep that in mind. Number 3. So number 3 is the 270 Winchester. Now, why is the 270 overrated? Loved for a century, but hasn't aged as gracefully as fans claim. The reality? Flat shooting? Yes, but ammo selection and modern bullet design have made others, like the 6.5 PRC, better options for the same role. I'm actually going to agree with this one, and it's nothing against the 270. It's just against bullet manufacturers. There's just not a lot of great bullets in that 27 caliber being made today. Now, what it was at Barnes just did like the 155 grain LRX. I think that's super cool. But for the most part, you've got your 130s, 150s, a lot of soft points. Just bullets that are just fine. But I think the ammo availability as far as the bullets themselves is what has kind of just put the axe on the 270. And unfortunately, kind of what put the axe on the 6.8 Western, at least initially. I hope that bounces back because that's a cool round. But I think that bullet selection is what really made it difficult. And then the fact that you had, not so great ammo manufacturers was the only ones making ammo for it. So that's going to hurt. You gotta have bullets to fire from these things. And, regardless of how great the cartridge is itself, if you don't have good bullets to fire from it, it doesn't really matter. Is the 270 overrated? Nowadays, maybe. But it wasn't that long ago that there wasn't much that would touch the 270. So I guess that's all personal opinion. Number 2, 300 Winchester Magnum. Why is it overrated? Legendary, but often chosen for reach without shooters realizing how punishing it can be. The reality, fantastic power, but excessive recoil and muzzle blast for most whitetail or mule deer hunts. Maybe. I think it would be hard to argue against a 300 Win Mag for a lot of use cases, especially on bigger game. But this is one of those things where I do think that you're starting to get into the point of like diminishing returns with powder and recoil and stuff like that. Again, you can take a 30-06, load it with the right bullet and powders, and do a lot of what the 300 Win Mag can do with, load it with not the right bullets. You can kind of get to the same point relatively easily. But yeah, for most shooters, again, it comes down to, do you need that extra velocity and power if most of your shots are going to be under 400 yards and likely under 300 yards? Probably not. Does it make you feel better? Maybe. That definitely counts for something. But my experience with 300 Win Mag did just fine. A little bit of recoil, most often, not necessary. That's just been my experience. I've never shot something with a 300 Win Mag and been like, gosh, good thing I had that. And I've never shot something with anything smaller and been like, man, I wish I'd had a 300 Win Mag. So, all right, guys, let's get to the number one most overrated hunting cartridge according to AI. Now, this one will probably get some people talking. And you already know what it is, so you might as well just start typing. 6.5 Creedmoor. Why it's overrated. Tremendous hype as the do-all cartridge. It's accurate and low recoil, yes, but not magical. Ballistics are modest compared to what marketing suggests. Reality, great for target shooting and medium game. Mediocre for elk-size game, and less perfectly placed. Honestly, I think that AI really nailed it on this one. Yes, accurate. And I don't think that it's the do-all cartridge that a lot of people say it is. For deer, absolutely. Deer pronghorn, getting up into mule deer, for sure. No issues with that as long as you're using the right bullet, which, again, with all of these, the bullet is probably way more important than the cartridge itself. But when these people are talking like using 6.5 Creedmoor and even PRC on elk, like, certainly can do it. I just think that you're getting, in my opinion, you're getting on that edge of like probably not the best option. People, people love to hate the Creedmoor, and there's some people that love to love the Creedmoor. I would probably fall on the side of a Creedmoor hater. It is what it is, but I'm one of those people that I like certain things until everyone likes it, and then I hate that thing. What's a good example? Hinder, the band Hinder. Liked Hinder until everyone got on that train, and then I stopped liking them. But now people hate them, so I like them again. Same with Nickelback. So yeah, I think that the 6.5 Creedmoor is probably definitely overrated. I think that there's plenty of good options out there. 308, 708, both of those, in my opinion, out to reasonable hunting distances that I'm going to shoot from. I would rather have the slightly larger bullet over, slightly less wind drift because of the higher BC bullet. That's just me. But y'all, let me know in the comment section what you think. What is your most overrated cartridge in your mind? Let me know. Which one of these do you think definitely does not need to be on this list? Look forward to having some good conversation in the comment section. So if you're listening to this, appreciate you listening. Appreciate you showing support. If you're watching it on YouTube or Spotify, thanks for doing that. Again, let me know what future videos you want to see, future shows you want to hear. Thanks for the support. Till next time, y'all be safe.